So we've created the table, the profile table inside the database. What we want to do in this section is we want to get the first name, the last name, and the email of the user from the sign up table. That way, because we already have the first name, last name, and email. So we get them from the sign up table and we add them to this inputs. So to do that, let's go to our text editor. Then inside the script, we create a new file and we can call it user profile, user_profile.php. So we've created this new script, user_profile.php. So the first thing we need to do is we include the db file. So php include, we go into the folder, then we use the db.php. Then the next thing, we add our php opening and close tags. Now we add our global variable, global connection variable. Now what we want to do is we want to select the data from the sign up table. So we write the query to select the data. So we say query select, which is equal to, say, select all from sign up, where now in this case we are going to be making use of the ID. Now if you check the sign up table, we have this ID, and remember that we saved this ID also in a session. So we are going to get this. So we're going to say select all from sign up, where ID that we have inside the sign up table is equal to the session ID. So it's going to be equal to the session ID because we saved it inside our login.php. We have the ID saved here, so we are making use of it here. So select all from sign up, where ID is equal to the session ID. Then we pass the query. So we say select query, which is going to be my SQLi underscore query, takes the connection and takes the query statement. So we copy this and we paste it in here. We close this. You can write an if statement. So if it's not select query, if there's an error with the query, we should just get an error. So we see this. We can give it whatever error message we want to give it, but I'll just put query failed. Then you can use the method mysqli underscore error. Then we'll give it the connection. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to fetch the data from the database based on this condition, where I equals to session ID. So we loop through the data to fetch, and we fetch using the fetch array method. So we say while, use a while loop, we create a variable and equal to the mysqli underscore fetch underscore array, and we pass in the select query. We pass in the select query. So what we are going to do now is we can loop to get the ID. I say ID equal to row with ID. The next thing is user email. We get the user email, say row with email. User first name, row with first name. then the next thing is user last name. So see row last name. Now we fetched the data from the database. Now what we need to do is to echo this, and we're going to echo inside the complete profile page. But before we do that, we need to create this as global variables. We declare them as global variables. So we say ID, user email, user first name, and get the user last name. So we've declared this as global variables. The next thing we need to do is we can use them inside our complete profile. We echo them inside this value that we have here. This value property we have inside the input field, we just declare we echo the values. So the first one we're starting with is the first name. So we'll say PHP echo user first name. I can just copy that. User first name. The next thing is user last name. User last name. And the last one we are echoing is the user email. So here is going to be user email. So before we see how it works, if we go back to our script, user profile, what we did here was we selected the data from the sign up table where ID in the sign up table is equal to the session ID which we set. So and this session ID can only be created when the user logs in. So the ID equals to the session ID, then we select the statement, then we check if there's an error should be displayed. Then we'll fetch the data using a while loop, and we use this MySQL fetch array method. We get the ID, the email, the first name and the last name. Then we declare them as global variables. We come into our complete profile page, then we add them inside this value property by echoing the data. So what we need to do now, we just go to our browser, we refresh the page. Oh, now we're getting some variables that says undefined variable, user first name, user last name. So let's see why we're getting that error. Oh, the reason why we're getting that error is because we've not added the user underscore profile.php script inside our complete profile script. So you can just copy this. Then we change the folder to scripts, and we change this to user underscore profile. So don't forget to add the user underscore profile.php inside the complete profile page. So we go back and we refresh. Now we can see that the first name, the last name and the email has been added. So we got this data from the database, then we added it to this input field. So this is how we do it. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to update or insert the data from these fields into the profile page. So this one we have here, here and here, we are going to insert it into the profile table we have in the database. So I'll see you in the next lecture.